There are three things in life that are inevitable: death, taxes, and the Robots movie getting a 56 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Released in 2015 and clocking in at 40 minutes, the documentary is about scientists and engineers creating humanoid robots.
Alright, now I know what a box is.
I am too scared of confrontation.
This ends up being a mistake. The robots rebelled against their creators by killing them and eventually the entire human race. Just as they do, the robots studied how humans lived their lives, and then they applied those traits onto themselves. This is how we ended up with the 2005 animated film Robots. Okay, both of them have nothing to do with one another, other than the fact that they share the same name. But unlike the 2015 short documentary, I actually know what a 2005 animated Robots movie is.
And I liked it.
Now, before I explain why Robots is so good that it saved my non-existent marriage, I first want to talk about Blue Sky Studios, the folks responsible for this pile of rust. Blue Sky was created in 1987 by Chris Wedge and a bunch of other people whose names you could see here, after their visual effects studio MAGI shut down. They originally made ads using the same visual effects technology they used before. They would eventually become a subsidiary of 20th Century Fox and would soon get to work on making movies. The first movie of their repertoire is Ice Age in 2002. The film had some iconic voice acting from Ray Romano, John Leguizamo, and hey, that's Dennis Leary. Ice Age is good. Nothing more, nothing less. I mean, it was good enough to receive an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature in 2003, yet its biggest achievement was appearing in the first live-action Diary of a Wimpy Kid film.
You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
Considering it was Blue Sky's first movie, it could have been much worse. And then they made Robots, which doesn't have poorly rendered humans or shitting armadillos, so it's automatically the better film. Blue Sky pretty much copied DreamWorks' philosophy of hiring celebrities instead of actual qualified voice actors. And of course, just like Ice Age, this movie actually has a lot of A-listers as well. You know, you've got Ewan McGregor, Robin Williams, Mel Brooks, Stanley Tucci, Paul Giamatti, Halle Berry.
Robot, oh my gosh!
The movie follows Rodney Copperbottom, an ambitious young inventor who decides to leave his hometown in order to pursue his dream of working at Big World Industries, based in Robot City. Can I just say this? Robot City is quite frankly a generic name for a city in a world full of robots. It's like as if I made a movie about, I don't know, talking skunks, and had the main protagonist move to a place called Skunk City, or Skunkville. How about I pick real life places, like Cock Island, where chickens live, and Dick Island, where only men formerly known as Richard live. That was all just an excuse to make one big penis joke. When Rodney arrives at Robot City, he is flabbergasted by what he is seeing. If there's one thing this movie excels at, it is world building. It pretty much answers any question you might have while watching, like, how do robots reproduce? Well, they don't. They build babies, and then as they get older, they're given new body parts or upgrades. Pretty much anything can be alive and have the ability to speak. I mean, drums are sentient and feel pain. There's also fire hydrants, water fountains, toilets. It must be really awkward every time a robot needs to release their oil. So, how's your day been? Huh, tell me about it. Once Rodney finds his way out of the flying round train station, he reunites with Fender, a robot who harassed Rodney earlier by trying to make him show big anime eyes. They pair up in a caged ball as a form of transportation. Now, I might have a few loose bolts for brains, but I think that if the transporting balls existed in real life, then they would not be safe. There are so many gaps big enough for you to fly through and fly out if you're skinny enough, since there are no seatbelts. Rodney could have had his fingers crushed here. Anyway, Rodney finally gets to Big World Industries, but this annoying little Egypt refuses to let him in. After he breaks into the building with the help of his companion, oh yeah, I should talk about him. You know how for a while how people briefly hated the Ice Age baby because, just because? Well, it's a wonder people haven't treated the Wonderbot, the robot Rodney made when he was a kid, the same way. I don't particularly care about that baby, but this tiny robot, my god, I find it kind of annoying. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that. Maybe what I said was so controversial that I should be in jail for saying something like that. But I doubt it. It has its moments to be fair, but they're not enough to make me care about this bug-eyed thing. So yeah, Rodney gets kicked out by Ratchet and ends up in a bin. We are then taken to a weird shady factory, and it's there where we see our two villains of the film. I really like the villains here. There's the previously mentioned Ratchet. He was Big World's second in command, but after Big World was pushed out, Ratchet assumed control of the company. He's so conniving and menacing, a robot who thinks highly of himself, while still being quite amusing at points.
Oh, I don't want to hear another, "Where's Big World? Where?"
There's also his mother, Madame Gasket. She's the head of the chop shop, a place where scrap metal gets turned into upgrades. Their whole plan is to no longer make spare parts and just to make upgrades instead. But since they are expensive, they're deliberately pricing out the lower class so they can basically die and become scrap metal. In fact, those robots are given a unique term like out modes, or sorry, out. It is basically a slur towards the lower class who can't afford new upgrades. It's like in Harry Potter where the term mudblood is a slur for half-blood wizards and witches.
No one asked your opinion, you filthy little mudblood.
That's racist.
Oh yeah, and they also want to kill Big Weld because of how much of a trash he could be. Fender finds Rodney again, and they fight over Rodney's foot, resulting in Fender having his head taken off his shoulders. They bump into Fender's gang. There is Green Giant, Longhead, Cassette Player, and Fender's sister, Viper. I don't know why I remember her name out of all of them. She finds Rodney cute, which is kinda strange considering it is the same guy who she believed hurt Fender.
Alright, Buster, if you think you can mess with my big brother, you're kinda cute.
I know you almost killed my brother, but I bet you got a big pipe. They go to the repair shop with the hope of fixing Fender's neck, but to no avail. Rodney intervenes and is able to fix him. As a token of gratitude, they invite Rodney over to Aunt Fanny's place where he could stay, and it's here where I want to bring up the humour of the movie. Now what do I think of it? Well,
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
for every well-delivered funny lines from the characters and visual gags, you also get toilet humour and jokes that have aged like milk.
Oui, sir. I'm a woman. Ouch.
I will concede that the Aunt Fanny fart made me laugh hard, but only because of the aftermath.
Hey kids, get a load of this!
I mean, the fart smelled so bad, it killed a lamppost. Aunt Fanny just committed robot slaughter, I guess. While I'm at it, I might as well bring up the voice acting. I think it's really good for the most part. My favourite performance has to be Mel Brooks as Big Weld. He has that tongue-in-cheek attitude, which I find really funny.
Now I'm going inside, get some booty. Hey, you know your boyfriend here is a genius.
He also has a tone of voice that sounds endearing or intimidating depending on the situation. Ewan McGregor as Rodney is fine. I do think that his voice acting here is convincing enough to not make me think it's Ewan McGregor, and instead a robot that is blue and white. In fact, I didn't even know he was in this movie until a few years ago. Though I will say this, he sounds like a Scottish person trying hard to sound American. And maybe that's because he is a Scottish person trying hard to sound American.
I have to do this. I'm going to Robot City tonight. I'm gonna get a job and I'm gonna help Dad pay back Mr. Gunk.
I'm very conflicted when it comes to Robin Williams as Fender. He does have his moments.
Will you shut up, you neurotic nut? Why, I'd smack you if I had a hand. Wow, speak of the devil, here I come. Ow!
and also some moments that makes me question why I still watch kids movies as an adult. I'm not sure if it was the script or the performance, to be honest. I have seen Mr. Williams do better, especially when it comes to the genie in Aladdin. Everyone else is fine. I really don't have much to say about them, except for Diesel because he doesn't have a voice. He instead uses voice boxes that lets him say funny things or pop culture references.
The force is strong with this one.
More like the joke is forced with this one. Please like and subscribe. The whole neighbourhood hears about what Rodney did to Fender and are now looking at him to fix them. He was reluctant at first, thinking he couldn't do it, but after thinking about a quote from Big Weld, "See a need, fill a need," he gets to work and some licensed music starts to play. I like the soundtrack here for the most part, more so the original score, though I do think the licensed music is decent as well. When the music is added to the montage sequences, like when the Wonderbot is cleaning the dishes and Rodney fixing the city folk, it makes said montages pretty fun to watch. Anyway, Ratchet and Gasket caught wind of what Rodney was doing and they fully intend on killing him. I mean, this time it ain't robot slaughter. This is, well, murder. More people show up to be fixed and this stresses Rodney, who desperately needs Big Weld's help, but he doesn't know where to find him. They discover the Big Weld ball is coming up, with Rodney and Fender sneaking in with the intent of finding him. Turns out he didn't show up, much to Rodney's anger. Cappy, an executive of Ratchet's and opposed to his way of thinking, swoops in and saves Rodney before the police detain him. Meanwhile, Fender gets captured, put in the chop shop, learns of the evil plan to destroy all the outmodes, and just about escapes. Rodney and Cappy go to Big Weld's house, and upon knocking down his dominoes, they finally see him, the big man himself. I think this is a good time to bring up just how well the animation in this movie is. It is actually genuinely really good, especially for the time. One detail I noticed while watching was when the Wonderbot drinks grease through a straw and then some of the grease stays in the straw. There are also stuff like the reflections from the upgraded robots or the rusted parts on the other robots. But this domino sequence in Big Weld's house really is the movie's magnum opus. It truly is a technical marvel. So Big Weld is all sad because of the fact Ratchet pretty much hounded him out, because Ratchet is a greedy bastard and he refuses to help Rodney. Now imagine you're Rodney, someone who looked up to Big Weld, a robot who inspired him to invent from an early age, a robot who inspired him to help others in need, and then being told to give up in the face of oppression. That must be soul crushing. So Rodney goes to the flying round trade station with the intent of going home, but after a phone call from his dying father, he becomes inspired to save Robokind. So he and his friends, including Big Weld, who changes his mind after a Naruto power of friendship speech from Rodney, joins forces to take down Ratchet. However, Ratchet lures the gang into the chop shop, with Big Weld getting captured. After getting some sick upgrades, the gang are ready to take down the entire chop shop, even though they are significantly outnumbered. But then Piper and Aunt Fanny come along and brought the entire city to help them. I'm pretty sure the final battle inspired Marvel to include something similar in Avengers Endgame. It even has the women team up together moment, despite barely knowing each other. But that's only speculation. I'm not accusing Kevin Feige of anything. After some hard-fought battles, Gasket dies in an incinerator and Ratchet gets hanged and loses his upgrades. I don't know what's scarier, a robot getting hanged or a naked robot. Big Weld regains control of Big Weld Industries. Rodney returns home, gives his father the necessary new parts to save him, and even allows him to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a musician. After the obligatory kid movie dance scene, the movie ends. Now I already gave my 2 cents about this movie, but now the question is this. Was this movie a success? Yes. Question mark? On a budget of 75 to 80 million, It managed to rake in over 260 million in the box office. Now budgets don't take into account marketing, so there's a chance they spent more in that respect. While I'm sure it made its money back comfortably enough, it wasn't exactly a runaway success. It was the third highest grossing animated movie of 2005, behind Madagascar and Chicken Little. And if we lived in a perfect world, then the Wallace and Gromit movie would be top. The film got nominated for a couple of awards, winning one in the process. Now in the 19 years since this film came out, was there ever a sequel? Well, no. I find it strange considering out of all the IPs that they have, Ice Age and Rio got sequels, but not this. I have not seen any of the Rio movies, so I don't know if the first one warranted a sequel from a storytelling point of view. Now the Ice Age sequels are a different kettle of extinct animals. 2 and 3 are fine enough movies, however they should have stopped after that. I saw the 4th one once, years ago, and hated it. Haven't seen 5, but I heard it's even worse somehow. Sorry, I'm getting off topic here. Both the director Chris Wedge and producer William Joyce said that there were plans for a sequel but were shut down because of the studio's desire to focus more on continuing the Ice Age saga. I do think this was for the better, as I'm not sure how a sequel would work. The story ends with everyone happy and all loose ends tied up. Though I would not be surprised if Disney released a sequel that has worse animation, none of the original cast returning, and only existing to promote a Disney Plus spin-off series. But I doubt that will ever happen. In conclusion, Robots is a good movie, and you should watch it right now. Or else Madame Gasket will cut your nuts off and turn them into a picture frame. Sometimes I don't know how to end a video. Whenever that's the case, I usually look at All Reliable to give me some inspiration. Now let's have a look here. Oh yeah, just like the Robots movie, I should end this video with a dance scene. Yeah, I think I'll do it. Right. Man, you know, like it'd be a real shame, you know, if the video ended before I finished my dance.